Welcome back, coin enthusiasts and collectors. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of British numismatics, exploring the most valuable top 9 United Kingdom 2-shilling coins. Known affectionately as the florin, these coins have a rich history, unique designs, and in many cases, incredibly high auction values in today's market. Whether in worn circulated condition or preserved in pristine mint state, some of these 2 shillings are worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. So sit tight as we uncover their history, rarity, and the reasons behind their staggering demand among collectors. So let's get started. First up, we're diving into a fascinating piece of British numismatic history, the United Kingdom 2-shilling coin from 1967. At first glance, this coin may appear like just another old pre-decimal coin, but when we look deeper into its story, its historical significance, and its market presence, it becomes clear why collectors across the world still seek it out. Even in fine condition, this coin can surprise you with its desirability and auction value in dollars. So, let's uncover the journey of the 1967 2 shillings. The 2-shilling coin, often called a florin, has an important role in British currency history. It was first introduced in 1849 under Queen Victoria as part of the movement toward decimalization, being exactly 1/10 of a pound. The 1967 issue was struck during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, just a few years before decimalization came into effect in 1971. This makes the 1967 florin one of the very last pre-decimal 2 shillings to be produced. For everyday Britons of the 1960s, this coin was a common piece of change, but for us collectors, it's a reminder of a turning point in UK coinage history. The obverse side of the 1967 2 shillings features the young portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Mary Gillick. This portrait is iconic, as it represents the Queen in her youthful years and was used on coins from 1953 until 1970. The reverse side showcases the traditional crowned Tudor rose, encircled by the thistle, shamrock, and leek, symbols of the United Kingdom. Around the edge, you'll see the inscription FID Def 2 shillings 1967, with Fid Def, meaning Defender of the Faith. Made of cupronickel, the coin measures 28.5 millimeters in diameter and weighs 11.3 grams. Making it a sturdy piece of mid-20th century coinage. Now, here's where things get interesting. The 1967 2 shillings is not considered one of the rarest coins by mintage numbers, as millions were struck for circulation. However, rarity in numismatics doesn't always come down to mintage alone. It comes from condition, demand, and historical context. Collectors highly value coins from the final years before decimalization, especially in fine or better condition, because they serve as tangible symbols of the end of Britain's pre-decimal era. Many of these coins were heavily circulated, which makes finding one in fine condition or higher much more challenging than it seems. That's exactly why collectors often chase them at auctions. So what about value? In average circulated condition, a 1967 2 shilling may only fetch a modest price of $3,000. However, in fine to extremely fine condition, values can rise to $10,000 depending on collector interest and demand at the time of sale. The real surprise comes in top-graded examples. Uncirculated, mint-state coins can bring in $15,000 or even more at auctions, particularly when they are slabbed and certified by grading authorities. While it may not be a millionaire-maker coin, its value lies in its charm, collectability, and link to British monetary history. For collectors looking to invest in the 1967 2 shillings, here are some tips. Coins in fine or better grade always attract stronger prices. Uncirculated examples with sharp details will always outperform average ones. Getting a high-grade coin graded by NGC or PCGS can significantly boost its value. Many collectors enjoy putting together complete runs of pre-decimal coins, and the 1967 florin is an essential piece. Patience is key. A well-timed purchase at auction can be a rewarding investment. The United Kingdom 2 shilling 1967 coin may not be the rarest piece in existence, but it carries immense historical and collector value. As one of the final florins before decimalization, it represents the closing chapter of an era in British coinage. In fine condition, its worth is already higher than many realize, and in uncirculated grades, it can fetch impressive prices in dollars at auctions. So, the next time you come across one of these coins, don't dismiss it as just old change. You might be holding a valuable piece of history. Next up, the United Kingdom 2 shilling coin of 1957. While at first glance it may look like just another old, circulated coin, the truth is far more interesting. Even in rusty or heavily circulated condition, some of these coins carry surprising collector value at auctions. We'll explore its history, unique features, rarity, current market value in dollars, and why collectors still hunt for it today. The United Kingdom 2-shilling coin, also known as a florin, was first introduced in 1849 as part of the push towards decimalization of the British currency system. By 1957, the 2-shilling coin had become a standard piece of pre-decimal coinage. These coins were minted under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, who had just begun her rule after the passing of King George VI in 1952. The 1957 issue is among the early years of Elizabeth II's coinage, making it historically significant as part of her first series of coins. The 1957 2-shilling coin carries a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, designed by the famous artist Mary Gillick. This youthful effigy of the Queen is highly admired for its elegance and simplicity. On the reverse side, you'll find the iconic Tudor rose in the center, flanked by a thistle, shamrock, and leek, representing England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. Around the edge is the inscription FID Def 2 Shillings 1957, which stands for Fidei Defensor, meaning defender of the faith. The coin was struck in cupronickel, giving it durability, but many surviving examples today show signs of rust and wear due to circulation and age. While the 1957 2-shilling was not minted in extremely low numbers, finding one in excellent condition today is becoming increasingly difficult. Most of the surviving pieces are in circulated or rusty condition, as they were heavily used in daily commerce before decimalization in 1971. Collectors often seek them as part of a full Elizabeth II florin set, and even worn or damaged pieces still attract attention because they belong to the early portrait series of the Queen. The demand is particularly strong among collectors who specialize in pre-decimal British coins, as well as those who focus on the first decades of Elizabeth II coinage. Now, here's the part that surprises many people: the market value. A heavily circulated or rusty 1957 2-shilling coin might only fetch between $3,100 depending on condition and buyer interest. However, examples that are in better grades, even if not uncirculated, can sometimes reach $7,500 at auctions, especially if they carry historical appeal or come from a complete collection. Uncirculated or near-mint specimens are far more valuable, often going for $14,000 or more. The rarity of pristine coins makes them highly sought after, while even low-grade examples continue to trade hands because of their age and charm. If you come across a 1957 2-shilling coin in circulated condition, don't throw it away thinking it's worthless. Store it safely. Avoid cleaning it aggressively, as cleaning can reduce its value, and consider selling it through a reputable coin dealer or auction platform if you're looking to make money. For those who want to collect, try to find coins with less wear, clear details on the Queen's portrait, and visible inscriptions. Building a set of early Elizabeth II shillings is a rewarding hobby, and over time, even circulated pieces may rise in value as collectors chase fewer and fewer surviving examples. So, the 1957 United Kingdom 2-shilling coin may not look like much when it's rusty and worn, but it tells a fascinating story of Britain's currency history, Queen Elizabeth II's early reign, and the transition towards decimalization. Even in circulated condition, it continues to hold collector interest and surprising market value. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned numismatist, this coin is a reminder that even small, everyday objects from the past can carry big historical and financial worth. Next up, we'll be diving deep into one of Britain's most fascinating coins, the United Kingdom 2-shilling coin from 1956. At first glance, it may seem like just another piece of pre-decimal currency, but when preserved in excellent condition, this coin has become a true collector's item. Its beauty, history, and rarity have made it a standout in the auction world, often fetching surprisingly high prices in dollars. So, let's explore the full story behind the 1956 2-shilling coin. The 2-shilling coin, also known as the florin, was introduced in 1849 as an attempt to ease Britain toward a decimalized currency system. By 1956, it was still in circulation, playing an important role in everyday transactions. The coin we're focusing on today was struck during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, just 4 years after she ascended the throne in 1952. This makes the 1956 issue an early Elizabethan coin, adding to its historic and emotional appeal. While millions were minted, only a small fraction have survived in pristine, excellent condition, making them particularly desirable among collectors. The 1956 2-shilling coin is crafted from cupronickel, as silver had been replaced in the coinage after 1946. On the obverse, the young effigy of Queen Elizabeth II faces right, designed by sculptor Mary Gillick. This portrait is admired for its youthful elegance, representing the fresh new era of the Queen's early reign. On the reverse, the coin carries the traditional English design, a Tudor rose in the center, flanked by a thistle, a shamrock, and a leek, representing the four nations of the United Kingdom. The inscription, FID Def 2 Shillings 1956, completes the design. Its balanced artistry and symbolic imagery make it a standout piece in British coinage. Although the 1956 2-shilling coin is not the rarest British coin by mintage numbers, its rarity lies in the condition. Most examples were heavily circulated, scratched, or worn down in daily use. Finding one in excellent or mint state condition is exceptionally challenging. Collectors especially seek coins with sharp details on the Queen's portrait, clear edges, and a fully preserved reverse design without significant wear. Because it's an early Elizabeth II coin, demand has consistently remained high, particularly among those who specialize in building complete pre-decimal sets. Now let's talk about the money side of things. A regular circulated 1956 2-shilling coin might fetch only a few dollars, usually between $5,000, depending on wear. However, when preserved in extra fine to uncirculated condition, the value increases dramatically. At auctions, excellent condition specimens often sell in the range of $11,500. Rare graded pieces in mint state, especially those certified by top grading services, have even been known to reach $15,200 or more. This demonstrates how condition transforms what might look like a common coin into a valuable collector's treasure. If you're planning to add a 1956 2-shilling coin to your collection, here are some tips. First, always look for condition coins with minimal scratches, sharp detail, and original luster hold the highest value. Second, consider professional grading, as certified coins tend to perform better at auction. Third, be cautious when buying online. Check seller reviews and request clear images before making a purchase. Finally, keep your coins properly stored in protective cases to maintain their value for the long term. Remember, in numismatics, condition is everything. The 1956 United Kingdom 2-shilling coin is more than just old currency. It's a piece of British history, carrying the early portrait of Queen Elizabeth II and showcasing the rich symbolism of the United Kingdom. While not the rarest by mintage, its value lies in preservation and condition. For collectors, it represents both a historic artifact and a smart investment. Next up, we're exploring a true treasure from British numismatics, the United Kingdom 2-shilling coin of 1955. While it may look like an ordinary pre-decimal coin at first glance, in reality, it holds a remarkable place in the coin collecting world. Even in fine condition, this coin has attracted strong interest among collectors, and in auction markets, it can reach surprisingly high values in dollars. You'll understand why the 1955 2-shilling is such a sought-after piece, and why you should look twice before dismissing one if it crosses your path. The 2-shilling coin, often known as the florin, was first introduced in 1849 under Queen Victoria as part of an experiment to gradually move Britain toward a decimal currency system. By the mid-20th century, during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, the coin was firmly established as a staple of daily commerce. The 1955 issue was minted just a few years after Elizabeth II ascended the throne in 1952. Britain was still recovering from the aftermath of World War II, and coins like the 2-shilling played a crucial role in everyday transactions. These coins remained in circulation until decimalization in 1971, after which they were replaced by the modern 10-pence piece. The 1955 2-shilling has a very distinctive design that reflects both tradition and national identity. On the obverse, it carries the portrait of a young Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick. This effigy is one of the most iconic early depictions of the Queen, showing her crowned with a laurel wreath rather than a crown, symbolizing youth and continuity. The reverse features the Tudor rose in the center, surrounded by a thistle, shamrock, and leek representing England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. This design by Cecil Thomas was a proud emblem of unity among the nations of the United Kingdom. The inscriptions read FID Def 2 Shillings 1955, standing for Fidei Defensor, or Defender of the Faith. Even in fine condition, these details remain visible, giving the coin both artistic beauty and historic value. Now, what makes the 1955 2-shilling coin so interesting is its rarity and collectible condition. While millions were minted for circulation, the challenge today is finding examples that have survived decades of use with strong detail and minimal damage. Coins in fine condition or higher are especially prized because many of these shillings were heavily worn during circulation. Collectors worldwide, especially in the UK, the US, and Australia, Look for the 1955 issue because it marks the early years of Elizabeth II's reign. This adds sentimental and historical significance, pushing up demand at coin shows and auctions. When it comes to market value, the 1955 2-shilling coin has shown steady appreciation. In fine condition, these coins often sell in the range of $3,500 depending on the sharpness of detail. Coins in very fine or extremely fine condition can fetch between $7,300, while an uncirculated or mint state example could easily command $16,000 or more at auctions. For a coin that once had a face value of just 2 shillings equal to 1/10 of a pound, this rise in value is truly impressive. Collectors have seen some auction houses in recent years list higher-grade specimens at even stronger prices, reflecting the continuing demand. If you're thinking about collecting the 1955 2-shilling, here are a few tips. Check the condition. Even small differences in wear can greatly affect value. Fine condition coins are collectible, but aim for very fine or better if possible. Look for original luster. Some coins still retain a silvery shine despite their age. These often command higher bids. Buy from reputable sources. To avoid counterfeits or altered coins, purchase from trusted dealers or well-known auction houses. Store properly. Use protective holders to prevent scratches, tarnishing, or further wear. The 1955 United Kingdom 2-shilling coin is more than just old currency, it's a piece of history from the early reign of Queen Elizabeth II, a symbol of national pride, and a collectible with growing market value in dollars. Even in fine condition, it can surprise collectors with its auction prices, proving that sometimes the most ordinary-looking coins can hide extraordinary worth. Next up, we're diving deep into one of Britain's fascinating pre-decimal coins. The United Kingdom 2-shilling from 1963, often called a florin. While it may appear to be a common coin at first glance, when preserved in very fine condition, it transforms into a sought-after collectible with a surprising market value in today's coin auctions. The 2-shilling coin has an important place in British numismatic history. First introduced in 1849 during Queen Victoria's reign, the coin was originally valued at 1/10 of a pound sterling, serving as a forerunner to the decimal system later adopted in 1971. By 1963, the coin was struck under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, at a time when Britain's coinage was still transitioning but retained traditional pre-decimal denominations. The 1963 issue was minted primarily for circulation, meaning millions were produced. However, over the decades, the majority were heavily worn, melted, or lost, making high-quality surviving pieces increasingly scarce. The 1963 2-shilling coin carries the first portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick. This youthful effigy of the Queen, without a crown, is one of the most admired portraits in British coinage. On the reverse side, you'll find a detailed design by Edgar Fuller and Cecil Thomas, featuring a Tudor rose in the center, flanked by a thistle, shamrock, and leek symbols of the United Kingdom's 4 nations. Around the design, the words FID Def 2 shillings 1963 are inscribed. Struck in copper nickel, this coin has a diameter of 28.5 millimeters and a weight of 11.3 grams. What makes it special is the combination of artistry, symbolism, and its representation of an early Elizabethan-era circulating coin. Now, let's talk about what really excites collectors: rarity. While the 1963 2-shilling was struck in large numbers, the real scarcity lies in its condition. Everyday coins saw extensive circulation, which means that coins graded very fine or higher are relatively uncommon today. Collectors around the world are particularly drawn to coins from the early years of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, and the 1963 issue is no exception. It represents a key piece of history from the pre-decimal era, just 8 years before decimalization transformed Britain's currency forever. As a result, demand is consistently high among both UK and international collectors. So, how much is a 1963 2-shilling coin in very fine condition worth today? On average, circulated examples might only fetch $5,000, but once you step into the very fine grade, values rise significantly. At auction, coins in very fine to extremely fine condition can command $12,500, depending on the demand and the coin's eye appeal. If you're lucky enough to have a specimen in uncirculated or proof-like condition, values can skyrocket even further, with some collectors paying $15,600 or more for pristine examples. While the rarest British coin, its steady climb in market value makes it a rewarding collectible. If you're looking to collect the 1963 2-shilling, here are some useful tips. Condition is king. Always prioritize coins with sharp details, minimal wear, and clean surfaces. Storage matters. Protect your coins from scratches and tarnish by keeping them in acid-free holders or coin capsules. Check for errors. Rare minting mistakes, such as missed strikes or off-center designs, can make a coin far more valuable. Auction tracking. Keep an eye on reputable auction houses and online marketplaces, as rare condition examples often appear unexpectedly. The 1963 United Kingdom 2 shilling coin is more than just a piece of metal. It's a symbol of Britain's rich numismatic history and the early reign of Queen Elizabeth II. Though millions were struck, finding one in very fine condition or higher is where the true rarity lies. With increasing collector demand and rising auction values, this coin continues to gain recognition among serious numismatists. So, if you come across a 1963 florin in exceptional condition, don't overlook it. You might just be holding a piece worth far more than its original face value. Next up, the United Kingdom 2 shilling coin from 1962. While at first glance it might appear as just another pre-decimal coin, in extra fine condition, it holds remarkable historical significance and can fetch surprising values in today's auction market. Stick with me as we uncover its background, features, rarity, and its true worth in dollars, especially for collectors who appreciate coins from this fascinating pre-decimal era. The 2 shilling coin, often called a florin, was introduced in the mid-19th century as part of Britain's attempt to move towards decimalization. By the year 1962, the florin was struck under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, making it one of the early coins of her monarchy, as she had only recently taken the throne in 1952. The 1962 issue is part of the pre-decimal coinage, which continued until 1971 when the UK officially adopted the decimal system. This coin reflects a transitional period in British currency, linking Victorian-era traditions with modern numismatics. The 1962 2 shilling coin is composed of cupronickel, as silver content had been removed from the florin after 1946. On the obverse side, you'll find the youthful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick, which portrays the Queen wearing a laurel wreath, a graceful and highly admired design among collectors. On the reverse side, the coin carries the Tudor rose in the center, crowned and flanked by thistles, shamrocks, and leeks, representing the 4 nations of the United Kingdom. Around the edge reads, FID Def 2 shillings 1962, a nod to the Queen's title as Defender of the Faith. Its balanced design and clean engraving make it stand out compared to later decimal coinage. While the 1962 2 shilling had a large mintage for circulation, what makes it rare today is its condition. Most coins from the early 1960s were heavily used in daily commerce, meaning that very few examples survived in extra fine or uncirculated condition. Collectors prize these coins not only for their condition, but also for their place in the early Elizabethan coinage series. The 1962 florin is particularly desirable among collectors who focus on building complete sets of Queen Elizabeth II's pre-decimal issues. High-grade examples are snapped up quickly in auctions, as they're much scarcer than the average circulated coin. Now, let's talk about the value of the 1962 2 shilling coin. In ordinary, well-worn circulation condition, it might only be worth around $3,800. However, when you move into extra fine condition, values rise significantly. An extra fine example can fetch between $5,000, while coins in uncirculated or mint condition can sometimes sell for $15,000 at auction, depending on demand and the grading quality. Collectors looking for pristine examples of early Elizabeth II coinage are often willing to pay a premium for this coin, making it a smart investment if you have one in your collection. If you're hunting for the 1962 2 shilling coin, here are a few things to keep in mind. Always examine the coin's condition carefully, as the value largely depends on its grade. Look for coins with minimal scratches, strong details in the Queen's hair and facial features, and a sharp reverse design. Patina or natural toning can add character, but avoid coins that are polished, as that decreases their market appeal. It's also a good idea to buy from reputable dealers or auction houses to avoid counterfeits or altered coins. Lastly, storing your coin properly in a protective holder will preserve its condition and maintain its value over time. The United Kingdom 2 shilling coin from 1962 may not be the rarest coin in terms of mintage, but in extra fine condition, it carries historical weight, collector demand, and solid market value in today's auctions. It's a perfect reminder that sometimes, even ordinary-looking coins from the past can surprise us with their significance and worth. So, if you come across a bright, sharp example of the 1962 florin, don't overlook it. It could be a small treasure hiding in plain sight. Next up, we're diving into a fascinating and often overlooked piece of British numismatic history, the United Kingdom 2 shilling coin from 1959. What makes this coin particularly interesting is when it appears in a yellow-shaded, rusty condition. At first glance, many collectors might dismiss such coins as damaged or worthless. However, in the world of rare coins, even coins with corrosion, discoloration, or unusual toning can fetch surprising amounts at auction. We'll explore the history of the 1959 2-shilling coin, its unique features, its rarity, and why collectors continue to pay high prices for this piece, especially when it carries unusual conditions like rusting or yellow shade toning. The 2-shilling coin, also known as a florin, had been in circulation in the United Kingdom since the mid-19th century. By 1959, the florin was an essential part of British currency, representing 1/10 of a pound. The coin was issued during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, only a few years after her coronation in 1953. These post-war coins were made primarily of cupronickel, as silver was no longer used in circulation coinage after 1946. Although millions of these coins were struck for circulation in the 1950s, their role in everyday trade has given them a strong connection to mid-20th century Britain, a time of recovery, rebuilding, and transition. This adds both historical and emotional value to the 1959 issue. The 1959 2-shilling coin features the iconic first portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick, showing the young queen without a crown, symbolizing a fresh start for the monarchy. On the reverse, we see the Tudor rose flanked by a thistle, shamrock, and leek representing the four nations of the United Kingdom. This design emphasizes unity and tradition. In regular mint state, the coin has a silvery appearance due to its cupronickel composition. However, what makes the yellow shade or rusty version stand out is their unusual appearance caused by environmental factors over decades. The discoloration, toning, or rusting gives these coins a one-of-a-kind look that makes them desirable to collectors who value unique or error-like qualities. Now you may wonder, why would a rusty or yellowed coin be in demand? The truth is, collectors often look for distinct pieces that stand out from the norm. A standard 1959 2-shilling is fairly common, but when a coin develops rare toning or an unusual patina over time, it becomes a conversation piece. Some collectors even prize these coins more than polished examples because they display natural aging, which cannot be artificially replicated in the same way. While not every discolored coin is valuable, those in which the rusting or toning appears balanced and eye-catching can generate bidding wars in auctions. The rarity lies not in the mintage, but in how few of these coins survive with unique, attractive corrosion or shades that appeal to serious numismatists. When it comes to the market value, condition plays a huge role. A standard circulated 1959 2-shilling might only fetch between $5,600 depending on its wear. However, coins with rare discoloration, such as a strong yellow shade or rusty patina that makes them visually distinct, can command much higher prices. At auction, examples of such uniquely toned coins have been known to sell anywhere between $17,200, depending on collector demand and the overall eye appeal of the piece. If the coin is also in a relatively well-preserved condition apart from the toning, the value can rise even further. In the coin market, uniqueness often translates to higher dollar value. For those interested in collecting the 1959 2-shilling coin, here are a few tips. First, don't dismiss coins that appear corroded, discolored, or toned. Sometimes these are the exact pieces collectors are hunting for. Second, always handle coins carefully, especially if they have unusual toning, as cleaning them can drastically reduce their value. Third, research auction results to better understand how unique conditions affect the market price. Finally, consider storing such coins in a controlled environment to prevent further rusting while still preserving their natural appearance. Collectors love authenticity, so preserving the coin, as is often the best route. The 1959 United Kingdom 2-shilling coin may seem like just another mid-century circulation piece, but when found in yellow shade or rusty condition, it transforms into a rare collectible with surprising auction value. Its combination of historical significance, beautiful design, and unique natural toning makes it a treasure for any serious coin collector. Next up, we're diving into one of the fascinating coins from the mid-20th century British currency, the United Kingdom 2-shilling 1954. While at first glance, it may seem like just another pre-decimal coin, in excellent condition this piece can carry remarkable value in today's auction market. From its unique design to its historical significance, this coin has steadily captured the attention of numismatists worldwide. The 2 shillings, often referred to as a florin, was a crucial denomination in Britain's pre-decimal currency system. The florin was worth 1/10 of a pound, or 24 old pence. The 1954 issue came during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, who had only recently ascended the throne in 1952. Early coins of her reign are historically significant, as they symbolize a transition from the era of King George VI to a new modern monarchy. The 1954 2 shilling was struck at a time when Britain was still recovering from the aftermath of World War II, and coinage reflected both practicality and tradition. These coins were made of cupronickel rather than silver, marking a shift in Britain's minting practices after 1947, when silver was completely removed from circulating coinage. The obverse of the 1954 2 shilling displays the first portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick. This youthful effigy of the Queen without a crown became iconic, representing her early reign with elegance and simplicity. The reverse features the English and Scottish shields, a design by Edgar Fuller and Cecil Thomas, flanked by floral emblems including the rose, thistle, shamrock, and leek, symbolizing the four nations of the United Kingdom. Around the edge, the inscription reads FID Def 2 shillings 1954, affirming its denomination and date. The coin has a diameter of 28.5 millimeters and weighs 11.3 grams, struck in cupronickel with a reeded edge. What makes it stand out is not just its design, but also the fact that coins from this early period of Queen Elizabeth II's reign are particularly cherished. While the 1954 2 shilling was minted in relatively large numbers for circulation, finding one in excellent condition with sharp details, minimal wear, and original luster is far from easy. Most of these coins saw heavy use in daily transactions, which means high-grade surviving examples are scarce. Collectors are especially drawn to the 1950 series of Elizabeth II coins, as they represent the very beginning of her historic reign. A well-preserved 1954 2 shilling often sparks bidding wars among numismatists, particularly when certified by grading authorities such as NGC or PCGS. In mint state condition, this coin is considered rare and highly sought after. Now, let's talk about the market value. A circulated 1954 2 shilling might only fetch a few dollars, typically between $5,500, depending on condition. However, the story changes dramatically for coins in excellent or uncirculated condition. At auctions, high-grade examples of the 1954 2 shilling have sold for $8,500 to over $17,500, with exceptional specimens going even higher when slabbed and graded as MS65 or above. Collectors in the United Kingdom, the United States, and across Europe compete for these coins, pushing prices higher, especially as interest in Elizabeth II's early coinage grows following her long reign. If you are interested in collecting the 1954 2 shilling, here are a few tips. Focus on condition. The biggest value jump comes when the coin is in excellent or mint state condition. Look for clear portrait details and minimal surface marks. Certification matters. Professional grading can significantly increase the market appeal and value of your coin. Check auction houses. Reputable numismatic auction platforms often yield better results than casual sales. Store carefully. Keep your coin in a protective holder or capsule to prevent scratches and tarnishing. Do your research. Learn the difference between common circulated examples and high-grade rarities. The United Kingdom 2 shilling 1954 is more than just a small piece of cupronickel. It's a coin that represents the dawn of a new monarch's reign and a piece of post-war British history. While many circulated examples remain affordable, it is the high-grade, well-preserved pieces that carry significant value in today's numismatic market. For collectors, this coin offers both a historical connection and the thrill of owning a rare piece with growing demand. So, if you ever come across a shiny 1954 florin in excellent condition, don't dismiss it. It might just be worth far more than you think. Next up, we are diving into the world of rare British coins, focusing on one specific treasure, the United Kingdom 2 shilling coin from 1958, also known as the florin. While at first glance this coin might appear like just another mid-20th century piece, in very fine condition, it can carry surprising value in the auction market. From its historical roots to its unique features and growing demand among collectors, this coin has a fascinating story worth exploring. So, let's uncover the journey of the 1958 2 shilling coin and find out why it remains a sought-after gem today. The 2 shilling coin, commonly referred to as the florin, was first introduced in 1849 as part of Britain's attempt to move toward decimalization. By the time we reached the 1950s, the coin was firmly established as an everyday piece of currency. The 1958 issue was struck during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, just 6 years after her coronation. These coins were minted in large quantities for circulation, but as with many coins, their true significance and desirability depend heavily on condition, rarity of surviving examples, and historical value. The post-war 1950s was a period of rebuilding and modernization in the UK, and the coins from this era reflect both tradition and transition. The 1958 2-shilling coin carries the first portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick. This youthful depiction of the Queen was used from 1953 until the late 1960s, making it one of the most beloved designs in British numismatics. On the reverse, we see the Tudor rose at the center, surrounded by a thistle, shamrock, and leek, representing the four nations of the United Kingdom. The words FID Def 2 Shillings 1958 are inscribed along the edge. The coin was made of cupronickel, as silver had been removed from British coinage after 1946, but despite the base metal, its design and historical resonance make it very collectible. Although millions of 2-shilling coins were minted in 1958, finding one in very fine condition or better is not as easy as it sounds. Most examples were heavily circulated, worn down, and lost over the decades. Collectors value coins that retain strong details in the Queen's portrait and the floral emblems on the reverse. For coin enthusiasts, the 1958 2-shilling represents not only a piece of everyday history, but also a coin from the early years of Elizabeth II's reign. The demand is particularly strong among those who build complete sets of pre-decimal coinage, as well as collectors fascinated by the transition years before decimalization in 1971. Now, let's talk about the part that excites collectors the most: the value. A 1958 2-shilling coin in average circulated condition might only fetch a few dollars, typically in the range of $7,000. However, when the coin is preserved in very fine condition, values can rise significantly, with prices reaching anywhere between $12,000 depending on the sharpness of details. Coins in extremely fine or uncirculated condition can sell even higher at auctions, sometimes crossing the $16,000 mark when collectors are eager to compete. This shows how condition plays a huge role in determining market value, even for coins that were once common. If you are considering adding a 1958 2-shilling coin to your collection, here are a few tips. Always pay close attention to condition. Look for coins with minimal wear, clear lettering, and strong details in the Queen's portrait. Coins stored in protective holders will naturally retain their sharpness and appeal. Keep an eye on reputable auctions and dealers, as they are more likely to offer authentic, high-grade examples. And remember, while the 1958 2-shilling may not always fetch sky-high prices, its importance lies in being an early Elizabeth II coin, which adds great historical depth to any collection. The United Kingdom 2-shilling coin of 1958 is more than just an old piece of currency. It is a reminder of a transformative time in Britain's history, the early years of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, and the final decades of pre-decimal coinage. In very fine condition, this coin holds significant collector appeal and can command impressive values in the auction market. Whether you are a seasoned numismatist or just beginning your coin collecting journey, the 1958 2-shilling is a coin worth paying attention to. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into rare British coins, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating coin stories.